there YouTube, this is Vargas XX78 with another collection pickup video, a comic book edition. Just wanted to share with you guys all the comic books that were waiting for me at the comic book store for this last month. So let's get started with The Amazing Spider-Man issue 13. This is part 5 of the Spider-Verse event, where Peter Parker and all the different Spider-Men from the multiverse are trying to take down Morlun and his band of brothers. And things are looking pretty bleak for the Spider-Men. They've been beaten down and they've won a few battles, but everything is starting to look bad for them until the end of this, where everyone rallies together and tries to fight back. And it's a cool storyline. I like the way that they're bringing all these Spider people together with, Superior Spider-Man with 616 Peter Parker and Spider-Ham and Miles Morales and Mayday Parker and the Kane. So yeah, it was a cool event that ended with Amazing Spider-Man issue 14, where all the Spider people are able to finally defeat Morlun and his cabal of evil brothers. They leave every Spider-Man gets his moment. They have their big flashy moment. Superior Spider-Man Spidey-Ock actually does something that seems like it's a bad thing, where he kills the Weaver that apparently controls or weaves life and death, according to Morlun. But it's going to be interesting to see how they resolve that. And, they also give an inkling that Dr. Spidey-Ock knows that Peter Parker eventually was able to defeat him and get his life back. So it's going to be interesting how they fit everything in there and how they tie up all the loose ends. Because even though they were able to defeat the Morlun and his brothers, there's still a lot of unsolved questions which might be resolved in the next issue. I've avoided, for the most part, the tie-in issues for the Spider-Verse event. Really, the only one I picked up is Spider-Verse, and this is Spider-Verse issue 2. Didn't really like the first one. It's basically just a collection of mini stories from different Spider-Men. And didn't really much care for the first one. And this one has a couple of interesting stories, but nothing really noteworthy, honestly. It's just picked up because it's, issue 2. Picked up Avengers. Even though Avengers is soon to be ending, they're still releasing 34 point some issues. This is 34.2. I forget his name, but it's this character that they introduced who supposedly is really powerful. But he's losing touch with his humanity, so that's basically the gist of this issue. Picked up Avengers 40, where the Cabal is trying to solve the incursions their own way, and Black Panther apparently kills Namor. He throws a giant bomb at him, and it seems like he ended up killing him. But the Cabal was prepared for something like this, and they actually escape the explosion, and they escape into the Ultimate Universe, where the Cabal meets up with Ultimate Reed Richards, who last I heard was a bad guy, so he might join the Cabal. But like the title says, in 3 months, time will run out. Avengers is going to end in issue 44, and it's going to segue into Secret Wars. But honestly, like I mentioned in my Rage video, I kind of have issues with Marvel and the direction I think they're going to go with. So I already mentioned this, but I'm dropping Avengers after this series ends. I dropped Uncanny Avengers, and I'm going to drop Avengers because I'm not happy with it. Picked up Justice League issue 38. Last issue, Batman was infected with the Amazo virus, and in this one, you see what powers he gets. Basically, Batman is blinded, and he's able to use echolocation like a bat to see, and he's also able to unleash like these electrical bolts. But what happens here is that the Amazo virus apparently gains sentience, and all the people that are infected are working like in a hive mind. So the only people that are left is Lex Luthor, Captain Cold, Superman, and Wonder Woman. So it's gonna be interesting to see how this resolved. The storyline has actually been pretty good. The artwork has been amazing, and the writing has been pretty solid. So I'm interested to see how this ends. And the next story arc is gonna be the Dark Side War. So looking forward to that too. Uh, Picked up Batman issue 38, and I am loving this Joker storyline. The Endgame thing. It's revealed that the Joker apparently is immortal. He's linked to forces that are keeping Ra's al Ghul young and Vandal Savage eternal. And apparently, this sort of kind of explains why the Joker's not been able to be killed yet. Because the Joker has been in a lot of... has fallen prey to his own death traps, and he's walked out through them like nothing. And in the death of the family, he fell down the Batcave, and he's back. So apparently, there's a reason for that, because he's been around Gotham for a long, long time, and he's immortal. And this ups the ante on the Joker, because even though Batman would never really do it, at least, if push comes to shove, and you could take out the Joker. But now that he's immortal, apparently, even that's taken out of the table. So it's a really good storyline. I love what they're doing with the Joker, even if it ends up being just one big joke and he really isn't immortal. But the storyline is amazing. The writing is amazing. The artwork is amazing in this issue. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this whole thing ends, because Scott Snyder has gone on to say that this is going to be the last time that he writes the Joker in his Batman book, so we'll see. Picked up Batman and Robin issue 38. Damian Wayne is back alive. He's become reckless. He was already reckless, but now that he seems to be exhibiting Superman powers with flight, super strength, invulnerability, he's getting more cocky. But in this issue, he's having nightmares with Talia al Ghul, Ra's al Ghul, and his deformed clone brothers. So something weird is definitely going on with Damian. I read online that they're going to cancel Batman and Robin and give Damian his own solo book. Honestly, I'm not that excited about that. I like the interaction between Batman, Bruce Wayne, and Damian, Robin. So if they're going to take that away and focus solely on Damian, that's not something that I'm very interested in. But, oh well. Picked up Simpsons Comics, issue 217. And I also picked up the one-shot. They've been releasing these one-shots, and for the most part, they're enjoyable. And I picked up the one-shot of McBain, who's the Sylvester Stallone character in The Simpsons. But it says here a giant poster included, but this comic book literally is one giant poster that's folded in. On one side, you have the massive poster, and on the inside, the panels represent the comic book, but you can't read this thing as a comic book. You literally have to unfold the damn thing so you can read the story, and that's pretty stupid. This is by far the worst comic book design I've ever seen. DC released a couple of issues of Batman Superman where you read the story sideways, and I thought that was pretty stupid. But this one takes the cake. This is, again, by far the worst comic book design I've ever seen, and I'm surprised that Simpsons did it. Honestly, this is unreadable unless you fold everything out and read the story that way. So, yeah, I've never seen anything like this, and I hope I never see anything like this again, because it really is a very poorly designed book. And the next one shot is going to be about Jimbo Jones. I don't really care for Jimbo Jones, but I don't know. I might pick that one up. Picked up Superman issue 38. This is Superman's last battle with Ulysses. And in this issue, if you haven't read so already, they reveal that Superman has one new superpower. I forget if they call it the Super Flare or the Super Burst. But basically, what happens is that Superman unleashes all the solar energy that he had stored in him, causing this massive destructive wave that brings down Ulysses. And the side effect is that basically destroyed his Kryptonian indestructible armor. That armor is gone. He doesn't have that armor anymore because of this solar flare, and also because he used up all his energy. He has no superpowers for a period of 24 hours. So he's basically human now. So it's a interesting new superpower, but I don't think they're going to use it that often because really, the downside is too great that he becomes human and he basically obliterates anything in its path. So, but it's interesting that they're still evolving Superman. This is the back, and still doing something new with him. Wasn't really sure if I was gonna pick up these Star Wars comic books. I don't collect Star Wars comic books. They were previously printed by Dark Horse, and I wasn't interested in that. But since Marvel and Disney bought Star Wars, they released their own books. But I heard that Jason Aaron and Cassidy were going to be involved in the project, so I decided to pick up the first issue, and I'm glad I did. It really is a really, really amazing issue. The storyline and the way that the characters talks feel like they would in the Star Wars movie. The artwork is beautiful to look at, and I'm really, really happy I picked this one up because it really is a good story, and I'm genuinely surprised at how good it is. The storyline takes place after A New Hope. It's between A New Hope and between A New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back. So yeah, they really have a lot of material to work with that because there is a certain time elapsed between those two movies. So picked up issue 2. And honestly, again, just confirmed how awesome the series is. Since they're going to cancel Batman and Robin and Swamp Thing, and I'm going to drop Avengers, I think I'll continue buying Star Wars. At least until the creative team of Aaron and Cassidy is still on the book. But really, really surprised at how good it is. It's genuinely a great read. Another one I wasn't sure if I was going to pick up, but I decided to do so, and I'm glad I did, is Darth Vader. Written by Gillen and LaRocca. The artwork again is really impressive. The writing is really good. This book parallels what's happening in the monthly Star Wars book. And here Vader is at odds with the Emperor. The Emperor feels that Vader has failed him with the destruction of the Death Star. So Vader has to do something to be in favor with the Emperor while at the same time doing his own thing so that he can rise in power. Dethrone the Emperor and have him rule. Great book. I really, really dig this book a lot. I'm glad I picked it up. As long as the creative team again is linked to this book, I'm going to still collect it. Amazing. I didn't think these Star Wars comic books were going to be so good, but they are genuinely really good. They're also going to release a Princess Leia book, but honestly, I don't think I'm going to pick that one up. Vader, because he's Darth Vader, and I really like the character, and Star Wars because I like what they're doing with the storyline. So those are the only ones I'm going to pick up, unless they release a Boba Fett one. If they release a Boba Fett one, I might pick that one too. Picked up Swamp Thing issue 39. This series has one more issue to go, and I don't think that the last issue is going to be very satisfying because a lot of things are happening. Arcane has gotten into the green and is rotting Swamp Thing from the inside. They have to deal with the Machine Queen, who's formed an alliance with Arcane and the Fungus, the Grey they're called. So the odds are definitely stacked for Swamp Thing and Abigail. Constantine makes an appearance to give Swamp Thing a power boost. But at the end of the issue, Swamp Thing releases all the avatars that he had in prison. So yeah, things are looking very bleak for Swamp Thing, and I honestly don't think that everything is going to be resolved satisfactorily in the last issue, unless it's a super giant-sized issue, like the Green Lantern book that came out that was worth like $8. But we'll see. We'll see what they do with Swamp Thing. Sad to see the series go, but looking forward to seeing how everything gets resolved as best as they possibly can. Picked up Amazing Spider-Man issue 15. Again, because they teased that they were gonna bring back the Juggernaut, and I really like the Juggernaut character. A lot of potential people, because Sidorak, who's the demon that controls or provides the power for the gem, announced in his way that the gem is coming back. So anyone that is willing to become his avatar can get the gem. So you got mercenaries, you got psychopaths, and you got Colossus and Kane Marco wanting to get the gem back for the power of the Juggernaut. And picked up issue 16. Still no one, there's no takers, there's no one clearly that has gotten a hold of the gem. But yeah, things are not looking good for the heroes, and everyone wants the Sidorak gem. So we'll see who ends up getting the powers. I'd like to see Kane Marco back as the Juggernaut. I liked him as a character, even though he was always a villain, but then they started trying to make him into a good guy. And I didn't. Colossus Juggernaut was interesting, but I didn't feel that was a good shift for the character. So we'll see. We'll see who gets the Sidorak gem. Picked up Uncanny X-Men issue 30. Last issue, Scott Summers, Magic, and that super powerful mutant were killed by S.H.I.E.L.D. The super powerful mutant was able to bring himself back to life, but he could not bring Magic and Cyclops back to life. So Tempest goes back in time, has to talk with Professor Xavier, and brings him into the present. So just like they did with the original 5 X-Men, now you got Professor Xavier back from the past. So I don't know. I think time travel has been used too frequently in these X-Men book. Again, it's because of Bendis, but they also kill off the White Queen. But honestly, X-Men is getting too confusing. Honestly, I'm not digging Uncanny X-Men that much. Picked up the sequel to Night of the Living Deadpool, Return of the Living Deadpool. That series ended with Deadpool injecting himself with a lot of AIM healing factor serum, so that the zombies that would eat Deadpool would get infected by Deadpool. So each zombie that took a bite out of Deadpool turned into Deadpool. So by the end of the issue, you had this massive Deadpool hive mind. This is a throwback to the first issue. That the first issue had a whole bunch of zombies, and then Deadpool at in this spot. Now it's all Deadpool and then a zombie here. So the survivors of this the human survivors have to deal with the zombies, and the much worse, apparently, Deadpools. There's a Deadpool that doesn't seem to be part of the hive mind and has amnesia. So he might be the one that ends up taking down the army of Deadpools and the zombies. So great read. I really, really like this. If you liked Night of the Living Deadpool, I would definitely recommend you pick up Return of the Living Deadpool. Amazing storyline here. Picked up Witchblade issue 180. That's supposedly gonna explain how the Darkness was killed by the Witchblade. The Witchblade in this issue goes to visit the Staccato house. She meets up with Jenny. She meets up with Hope. That's not really her daughter. It's a manifestation of the Darkness. So this book promises to explain how the Darkness was actually taken care of in the Top Cow universe. It's not written by the usual writer. It's David Hayne. But all in all, it's not that bad. I would have preferred if Ron Mars was the one actually doing the writing, but it's still a pretty good issue, and I'm interested in seeing how they actually take down the Darkness. And lastly, I picked up Wonder Woman issue 38. Wonder Woman goes away for some reason, comes back, and Paradise Island is in the throes of war. The mystical creatures are destroying the island, and this witch that had a beef with Wonder Woman is the one that basically created Donna Troy. So she says that Donna Troy should be the new queen of the Amazons because Wonder Woman is dropping the ball as the new queen and as the god of war. So still haven't introduced. They've introduced Donna Troy last issue. They've shown her here by name and presented her to the Amazons, but still she's not hasn't played a key part in the book yet. So we'll see how the Donna Troy things works out. Like I said, I'm picking up Wonder Woman. I stayed with Wonder Woman because I want to see how they introduce Donna Troy, and that's taking a bit to actually happen. But we'll see how that ends up. But that was the comic book pickup video. Lots of really cool stories came up. Big surprises. And some books that are going to end soon. But all in all, I would say it was a good haul. Some really, really amazing reading here. Like always, I like to recommend the things that I enjoyed best of the haul. And as it has become a tradition, Batman is at the top of that. I love the creative team of Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo. They're doing amazing work. I loved Death of the Family, and I'm loving Endgame even more. But again, I'm a mark for anything that has to do with the Joker. He's my favorite villain of all time. Him and Doctor Doom. I really like those two villains. Great story, great artwork. If you haven't picked up Batman, I don't know why. These Batman books have been amazing. And the other recommendation is going to be the Star Wars book. If you're not a fan of Star Wars, I would still recommend you pick it up because it's a good written book. It's well written. The artwork is pretty amazing. And if you're a fan of Star Wars, this is going to feel just like a fitting, middle part to A New Hope and The Empire Strikes Back. Really, really good. Issue 1, issue 2, and Darth Vader is amazing. I'm really happy that I decided to actually pick these up and collect them because they are really good stories. There's a variant cover of this. I think it was done by Alex Ross that looked beautiful. But the variant cost a little bit more than the regular issue, so this is the one that I picked up. But that variant was beautiful. It had Darth Vader kneeling down and a whole bunch of stormtroopers behind him. If you have the money, I definitely recommend you get the variant. But all in all, these Star Wars books are really good. It actually gives me hope that the Star Wars movie is gonna be badass. If this is any sort of indication. But yeah, good books. Definitely recommend these. So again, that was the comic book haul and the recommendations. Like always, thanks so much for watching. And until I see you all again, this is Vargas XX78, thanking you and signing out.